It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Twilord.
We're going to talk about some astrology and biology today, so let's go ahead and get right on into it with Twilord's first question. Astrology is the extrapolation of personalities and futures based on celestial phenomena. At least two of the celestial bodies in the sonic universe have had old gods at their core, the Black Comet and Earth. Which of our favorite Nermies do you think would be at the core of which planets in our own solar system?
I don't know if I'd say Black Doom is an old god. I mean, yeah, incredibly, ridiculously powerful and ancient, but...
Maybe he's just middle-aged, you know?
A middle-aged god.
That's right.
Going to get some hair plugs and buy a convertible. I'm still young. This is Vanessa. Yeah, she's 20. What of it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see. Characters in association with worlds. I mean, I guess Knuckles and Mars. I mean, Red Warrior, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sonic and Mercury. Swift little bugger running around all over the place. Sure, why not? Shadow can be Pluto. Cold and distant.
And also maybe not a planet. Somehow.
But deep down, he really does have a big heart. Ba-dum bum.
Bum! Bum, 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 bum.
Pluto has the big heart-shaped ice flow. Anyway.
Blaze is Venus, right?
Beautiful on the outside, but really acidic when you get down to it.
That's not what I mean. I just mean it's a lot of fire.
Burning and oppressive?
Well, I mean,
no.
That's... She's fiery. She's got the fire. I don't know. I couldn't think of any other planets. There's no other planets that really have anything like that. I guess she could be the sun.
Soul, yeah, why not?
Sure. Oh, boy. Who is... Let's see. What do we got? Jupiter. Hard to say. Is that just big?
Make that Eggman.
Oh, not Saturn?
Giant commanding figure surrounded by, lesser creations. One could argue that the big red spot is synonymous with his mustache or nose.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that makes some sense.
Saturn, we'll say Amy, because it's bright and it's colorful and kind of cheerful, and she wears giant bangles. She's surrounded by giant rings.
And if those rings ever go away, you're in some deep trouble.
And if any planet's going to be Uranus, or if any character's going to be Uranus, the one that's sideways and backwards for some reason, it's big.
Okay. All right, fine. What about Neptune?
I mean, I know there's the theme of... it's got to be silver, because they both have that kind of tealy blue look, and the moon of Titan is going to eventually crash into Neptune's surface, causing catastrophic damage. So it's got the doomed future!
Oh, no! Oh, poor Silver. Oh, well. Hey, you got it. It worked. There we go. Wait a minute. We didn't mention Earth. Should we mention Earth? I don't know. Is Earth part of this equation?
Light and Dark Guy are already in Earth. That was covered.
Oh, right. Fine. So it's Chip then. Got it. On to biology. Sonic and Shadow have very high reaction speeds. It's apparently estimated that most human nerve signals travel at around 100 miles per hour inside our bodies, with certain special nerve signals approaching the speeds of 300 miles an hour. Do you think that is fast enough for their feats? And if not, could it be said that, hey, it's not the reaction speed, they must be using their chaos energy to perceive?
Oh, number one, I think mine are running more like 40 miles per hour. Ian, can you keep up with the rhythm to this song? No, absolutely not.
Someone accidentally filled me up with leaded gas when I need unleaded.
As for Sonic and Shadow, I don't know. What's like the reaction time for like a fly or a flea or other like immediate interacting creatures?
I'm not sure.
Like part of that is the different forms of perception.
House flies have a similar reaction time of 30 to 50 milliseconds to a visual threat. That's what I'm reading.
Okay, so they're just like that, only better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's faster reaction times than that, though.
Okay, well, they're like that, potentially faster.
Let me see. What is the reaction time? Think of humans' reaction time. At least 2 years ago, Justin Ashley, who is an NHRA top fuel dragster driver, in his rookie season, broke the reaction time record at 0.029 seconds.
Wow.
Which, to go into milliseconds, it's about 29. So 1 millisecond faster than a housefly.
Wow.
Yeah. Drag racing.
So yeah, they're faster than him.
Yeah. Well, of course they are. Yes. Here's another one. The biggest single-celled organism in the world is an aquatic algae called Caulerpa taxifolia. I'm probably completely butchering that name. Sorry. So I apologize to that aquatic algae, which can grow to 30 centimeters long. It is a single cell that is made out of multiple instances of the things that make up our own cells. Chaos might be a little bigger than that, but given the nature of its body, do you think it might also largely function like a single-cell life form, at least for the bulk of its body?
I don't think so, given that Chaos is able to disperse into individual drops of water and recollect himself, even though there are clearly physical things within the body, whether it's like Chaos Zero's brain or Chaos 2's arms or what have you. Whatever components are part of Chaos seem to be able to dissolve to an individual molecular level and then recombine. And I don't think Caulerpa taxifolia can do that. That's a bit much even for it. Chaos is just a very special boy.
Yeah. Water's not made
Also,
up of cells, technically, so...
Yeah. And is it just me, or does the idea of a 30 centimeter long single-celled organism just give you the creeps?
Sounds pretty cool.
I don't know. Something about this. I want them to be tiny, tiny microscopic things. Fine. They're like the framework of all other things. Groovy. I dig it. When it's that big, it's like, ugh.
Well, a 6 foot tall amalgamation of millions of cells also sounds kind of terrifying, but I mean, that's just humans. So
yeah, I got to live with that. So
yeah. Yeah. But when you put it that way, it's kind of like, ooh. Eee. What would a conversation about biology be without a discussion of sex and gender? No laughing in the back. There are a couple of examples of different creatures reproducing in Sonic games. For example, Chow can breed, but don't have a sex, since they reproduce in the manner of a hermaphrodite species. Cheese, however, is often referred to as a male. Is Cheese's gender identity a result of him being intelligent enough to choose one, or an extrapolation assigned to him based on the human and Nermy take on whatever pack role behaviors he's demonstrating?
I honestly don't know. I don't think there's ever been that much thought put into it. It could be that he just found that dapper little tie, and everyone started saying he, so he just ran with it.
Apparently, Cheese is now identifies as they, uses they instead of...
Really?
Yeah, according to Evan.
I thought he was still consistently he.
Well, I don't know. You got Evan Stanley's phone number. Call her up.
That's something to double check on. But,
Yeah.
As in real life, whatever they want to identify as, that's what they are.
Yep, pretty much. Here's another question from Twilord. The evolutionary relationships of different species in Sonic's world, it seems like they must be pretty unique. Archie had some idea for how it worked for the Mobian versions, even though the specifics would need a bit of an overhaul for the Nermy versions. Are the Nermies more closely related to humans than their feral species? And if so, are mammalian Nermies like Sonic and Tails closer related to humans than they are to lizard or insect Nermy species? I will never get used to saying Nermy when you have asked these things, Twilord. I'm sorry.
You're not going to normalize it?
So, Nermy, for anybody confused, Nermy is apparently a semi-official term for what Mobians are currently called, I guess?
From where? I
don't
Cite
know.
your sources.
I don't know. I thought it
no,
was.
not you, Twilord.
Oh. Why
are you foisting this upon me?
Oh, no, I don't think he's foisting it upon you. I think it came from somewhere. I think it comes from somewhere,
Maybe
but
it's
I
a-
forget where.
Maybe it's an official Prima strategy guide. I don't know.
Thanks, Prima. You've done it again. Yes, totally. Knuckles totally has a Jamaican accent. That's believable. Background.
I'm
Okay.
fairly convinced that was an idea at some point.
Okay, so Nermi comes from background text in Shadow the Hedgehog's menu screen.
Oh, that's right. Because it's humans and black arms and nermies, and it's like, well, what the heck is a nermie? Right.
What the heck is a Nermi?
No. Yeah, I still reject it. Anyway,
Anyway, yes.
that's just the name of Black Doom's cousin. He wanted to give him a nice shout out in the title somewhere.
Nerby doesn't have that many friends. Just let him have this one thing, okay?
Anyway, this is the type of deep dive biology thing that I would do way back in the day before I got onto the books. And I see the appeal. I absolutely do. But now, years later, it's like, who cares? Just let them be animal people.
They're
But
rubbery
that's not
host
a satisfying
cartoon
answer.
animal thingies. Come on.
That's not a satisfying answer. So
I know.
I like to approach it more in like a Tolkien-esque fashion where the sapient species are more akin to each other in the fact that they are sapient species. Like, I don't know if Tolkien ever went down and, did the entire biology tree of where elves and man and dwarves and hobbits all might have coalesced. I don't think they did. I think they were individual creations of the gods, but that's besides the point. I don't think there's any merit to going to a full taxonomy of where the evolution branched off into the individual species and their Mobian Nermi mascot forms. I think it's enough for me that, in the real world, we have us as a species and we can coexist with the other great apes that we share a heritage with, but we are not the same, clearly. They are incredibly intelligent animals. They have complex social structures, yada, 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 but they are not human. We are distinctly different.
Mm-hmm.
So within the context of Sonic's world, you have your Mobians, your bees and crocodiles and chameleons and hedgehogs and cats and what have you, that are all, equally as viable in personhood as a human, but where they trace their ancestry back to is not really necessary. That hedgehogs can exist in the world next to Mobian hedgehogs, and it's understood that at some point there may have been a common ancestor, but they're two clearly distinctly different species.
The Nermies are Nermies, and the humans are Normies.
Yeah, okay, we can sum it up like that, sure.
Way for me to completely undercut your very in-depth explanation there. You're welcome. Glad I could help. Now people are going to think you hate me.
No, they already know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I hate me too. Here's another one.
No! That took a dark turn. No! Everyone comment below and tell Kyle how much you love him.
No,
Right now, do it.
no, don't do this. I'm not fishing for compliments. This is weird. No, don't do this. No.
Everyone in chat right now, tell Kyle how much you appreciate him. Do it.
No, don't. I'm not doing this to fish for compliments. You're making me feel weird and awkward and strange, and I don't like it. Anyway. Here's another one. Here's one from Tails and Cream. We got a question here from Twilord, because of course we do. This is his mini. Tails and Cream both seem to demonstrate a very interesting trend in mutations for Nermies, the capacity for flight, and at their young ages can practically keep up with Sonic. We have seen the Echidna also all seem to have a capacity to glide. Nermies also seem to have a disposition towards super speed. This becomes interesting when we consider the evolutionary pressure that future Nermies must have experienced leading up to the birth of Silver. Is there a probably recessive Nermie trait of super self-kinesis leading to these powers? And if so, is Silver a future mutation?
That seems to be a strong enough headcanon to me. If we're talking about our fanciful weirdo nonsensical sci-fi biology. Yeah, that makes enough sense. I'm not validating it for future canon, but I can't really argue against it.
The chat is like, the chat is weirdly having a Nermi breakdown.
I mean, you
It's
could
weird.
make a solid enough case to say that Sonic's homing attack is a form of super concentrated psychokinesis to direct himself in mid-flight.
Sure.
In generations that became extended psychokinesis. I don't know.
Maybe it's just because he's a cool dude. All right, here's our next question. Time to consider the life expectancy of our favorite human and Nermi characters. Feel free to factor in your own estimates of how long different species of Nermis live. However, it's important to also consider the impact of their based on their compatibility with their own diets, fitness regimens, hobbies, and lifestyles. How many years, assuming time started moving forward for them and no one died off screen, do you think Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Blaze, Jet, Rouge, Eggman, and the Commander have left?
For the majority of that cast, I would say 60 to 80 years easy. I would imagine that they live equally as long as humans do on average.
I was going to say, like, there's probably just enough to just be the same, roughly.
Yeah. I mean, Tails has probably got a decade on everybody because he's so much younger, but still. Eggman probably has, I don't know, another 40, 50 years in him. He may not look it on the outside, but he seems to be fairly robust in his physicality. So, I mean, that kind of weight can't be good for his heart, but he's also a genius. He can probably swap it out for something mechanical.
He's Eggman. He has no heart. He's been heartless since he was born.
He has one minor stroke and then he replaces it with something that's got 400 RPM. He wants to, just makes a revving motion outside and you hear something go inside his chest.
Of course he would do that.
Gun Commander, at his age, I imagine, well, that's the thing. He's gray, but going by the flashback, he was always gray. So is he like old or is he just like white-haired? Is he he's got to be a minimum of 50 because the ARC event was 50 years ago and he was a child, so somewhere between, we'll say an average of 10. So he's at the very least in his 60s probably. So
well, I mean, I'm 36 and half my hair is already white, so
so by average human standards, probably another 40 years for him. But he looks like he's one of those tough as nails old dudes that still does like 90 push-ups just for funsies. So he'd live to be like 120 out of spite. He's lying there on his deathbed. His shadow's still alive. Yes, sir. I can't go yet. He's immortal, sir. I'll outlast him. I thought you made peace. Sorta.
beep.
Punches his own chest to get back up. You're not done yet.
Yeah.
Keep beating.
Of course not. Of course he does. And we got another question. This one's a bit long, but let's go ahead and jump into it. Today's coveted Digimon question requires a lesson about the not quite biology of Digimon. While some Digimon do have elemental affinities at times, they are not a deeper property for them the way a Pokemon's type is. Instead, every Digimon has an attribute, comparable to computer security roles. Data beats vaccine beats virus beats data. It is very like Pokemon types in the sense that oftentimes the anime version just ignores it. Data Digimon naturally exist inside the current environment and status quo. In Digimon Survive, for your partner, they were associated with pushover or harmonious solutions. Virus Digimon disrupt the current environment and status quo. Typically, they are associated with villains, but more than one major and minor hero have had a virus-type partner. In Digimon Survive, for your partner, they were associated with passionate or wrathful solutions. Vaccine Digimon fight to maintain the current environment and status quo. Typically, they are associated with heroes, but more than one major and minor villain has been a vaccine Digimon. In Digimon Survive, for your partner, they were associated with inflexible or moral solutions. If the Sonic characters were Digimon, what attributes would each of them be?
I'm inclined to say Sonic would tend towards virus. Right? He's not a pushover. He's not really a harmonious type. He does what he wants and what he thinks is right. He's driven by his passions. So that would be him. I mean, you could argue he fights for the status quo, but that's more so he just fights for people's individual freedoms, and that status quo is under attack from Eggman. It's not so much to maintain normalcy, it's just for a protection. So the way you've described it, I'd say Virus. Tails might go Data, not because of the pushover aspect, but because he does look for the best solution. Amy in the same wheelhouse. They're going to look for a way to, find a good solution for everyone so that everyone is happy if they can. Knuckles, I would maybe say Vaccine, because he is pretty hard and fast about the whole guarding the Master Emerald thing. No touchy. Get off my island. Get off my property. I will fling you off and laugh about it. He's pretty staunch in his position and maintaining that status quo of keeping the island there in the sky where it should be. Thank you very much. And Eggman is, decidedly Virus. The man is driven by passion and destruction and changing things to what he wants. So yeah, that one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that one's a bit too obvious.
Now, this next one, I have to ask you, Kyle.
Okay.
So now, Mr. Krause, I've noticed you've been sitting quietly at the back of the class with your head down when it comes to actually answering questions. That won't do at all. Tell me, Mr. Krause, what have you learned in class today?
I've learned that people are very I've learned that people are very confused about Nermies and why they're called that and where that term came from. Pay attention to class. Dang it. Where's the Nermies?
That's not the correct answer, but it is an accurate one.
Correct. What else have I learned in the class today? Astrology and biology. That's what I have learned. I mean, am I wrong?
It is a correct answer, but not accurate. C+.
I mean, that's about right for me. No, actually, I was pretty good in those subjects. I was not astrology. In biology.
I was he had an astrology course?
No,
Man, what a cool school.
No, I never had astrology. No, and I wouldn't have taken it if I did. No, I would not have taken astrology. But I had biology, and I did pretty well in biology because I didn't cheat, unlike some other people. It's really not that hard. Let's see, what else did I learn? There's a single-celled organism that can grow up to 30 centimeters long, which sounds kind of scary, but also very cool. I learned that cheese is now preferred pronouns are now they, so that's cool. I learned that Sonic characters probably have more in common with humans than their original species for the most part, biologically. And that's that. Yeah, I learned about Digimon types or attributes and which Sonic characters would be which types if they were Digimon, which, I mean, that would make sense. Sonic would be a Digimon. And that's about it.
I think that's a pretty good informative episode. The BumbleKast. We teach you things and stuff.
we make you smarter if you want to be.
We make you do the brain think. Thank you for Twilord for sponsoring this BumbleKast Mini. If you want one for yourself, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a $25 member on YouTube.
That's all for now. Till next time.